What's up? Can you hear me? Yo.
Alrighty, how's that? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. So you play Baboo Power Rangers, the shoe actor.
I'm sorry, let me turn the volume up a little.
So that so the character behind you, you was a shoe actor for
Go
Power
ahead.
Rangers.
Yeah, I was the actual suit actor for this guy up here for all
Baboo.
of seasons 2 and 3.
Have you played anyone else besides that or no?
Not on camera. I didn't do any of the other monsters. I did some of the other monsters for some other like live events.
Oh,
Not stuff that anybody that was a fan of the show would necessarily have been able to attend.
do you believe Power Rangers still going on?
I don't think anybody thought 30 years ago it was going to be it would last this long.
How do you think Hasbro has done with the franchise so far?
How do I think what?
Hasbro has done with the franchise so far.
Hasbro, I think they're doing okay. I'm just a little upset that the Lightning Collection has not included Squat and Baboo for obvious reasons.
Yes. So what do you think? What would you want for the future of the show?
Well, I'd love them to bring me back in some capacity, of course. But as far as the future of the show, I mean, it's going to be weird if they're doing it on their own, not going off of the Sentai footage. But I just want to see
Yes.
something.
Yes.
I just want to see it keep going for as long as possible.
If Hasbro asked you to come back, would you come back?
Oh, absolutely.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you think college can become popular more than Marvel?
I'm sorry, Tommy's going to be popular. What?
Do you think colleges can become more popular than Marvel?
Oh, I don't know about that one. That's a definite maybe.
Okay. So so you do Comic Cons too, right?
Yes, obviously, I was just at Ranger Stop this past weekend, and apparently, I was around too many of those goody goody Rangers, and I caught something.
Oh,
I didn't agree with this monster.
you're my student interview I did so far.
I know you did Ron Wasserman. You did another one?
Yeah, I did the one that made the pros for Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Mark, hold up. I interviewed Mark A. Winston.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So you say it's nice weather outside. Exactly. I know you're in Ohio, but whereabouts are you?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So what's nice weather for Cleveland in mid-November?
Oh no, it's quiet out here. That's why I did the interview out here.
Oh, okay. Just because
Yeah,
it's quiet.
yes. So, so have you heard of the reboot for Power Rangers? That they're rebooting the franchise?
I want to see the reboot. I know there were very mixed opinions on the 2017 movie. I didn't mind it, but it was definitely a very different take from the original. And it's hard with a show like Power Rangers because you've got so many different seasons. You've got fans of so many different seasons. There may be fans that don't like Mighty Morphin or didn't like it, the original Saban, but like the Disney era or like the new Saban. So there was no way that they were going to please everybody.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, like I said, it resonated pretty well with some people, and with some other people, it just didn't. So maybe Hasbro rebooting it will reset everything and give us an idea of what they're going to focus on by creating their own series going forward.
Yes. Did you know Power Rangers was from a Japanese series when you tested for it? When you
What
did,
was that? I'm sorry.
did you knew that Power Rangers came from a Japanese series?
I did when I was doing it. No, I did not. As a matter of fact, the first time I was even in the suit on camera as Baboo, I hadn't even seen the show yet. So I didn't know what Baboo was like up until that point. I had never heard Dave Mallow voice the character. So
Oh,
I didn't know what I was in for. And looking back on it, I obviously played it very differently than the original Japanese actor did. So much so that actually, if you go on the Ranger Wiki, there's a comment on there about that the character of Baboo changed the most
yes.
because um I actually tended to hunch a little bit more. I didn't stand up straight and do the Baboo like the Sentai footage. I
Yes.
was more doing it as when it was explained to me that the character wasn't a real evil, scary type, but was more of a goofy character. I ended up playing it more like the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. And that led me to kind of hunch a little bit. It's like there's a comment that Squat and Baboo are closer in height in seasons 2 and 3 than they were in the first season when it was mostly Sentai footage, because I hunched a little bit,
Have you
not
watched the new
realizing. And, from the first couple of days of doing it, they liked what I was doing. So they never told me to do anything different.
Have you watched the new Power Rangers?
I've watched bits and pieces of some of the newer series. I got, excuse me, I watched quite a bit of Beast Morphers because I had a friend who had a YouTube channel that I was on. They used to back in the day do it live, so I'd get on there and comment to him live and kind of interact. Yeah, it was
Yes.
actually the first interview I ever did was on his channel on Action Activate. Um, so I got into watching Beast Morphers because that's what he was mainly doing.
Yes.
I didn't watch too much of Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury yet, although I need to get into that. It's just hard because now I've got my own channel that I'm doing where I'm reviewing all the original Mighty Morphin episodes as a start, but I do the episode reviews as Baboo reviewing it. So it's more in line with I talk about the monsters and the costumes and how we should have beat the Rangers and whether
I know
Rita got a headache at the end of it or not.
I know they brought David Yost back from Cosmic Theory. There was no
Yeah,
movie,
no,
so they brought back.
yeah, no, I want to see, Cosmic Fury just because I know, yeah, Zed coming back for that. Um, that was actually when I met Hunter Deno at Ranger Stop. I took a picture and I
Yes.
posted it and I said, yeah, connected by Lord Zed from the beginning to the end. The reason I got the part as Baboo was because they brought in Lord Zed. They created the Lord Zed character because they wanted a new head villain, and they were pretty much out of Rita Sentai footage. They decided that if they're bringing in Lord Zed, they don't have any stock Sentai footage they can use. They wanted just one person to play Baboo going forward. And I happened to be on set as an extra the day they wanted somebody to try on the costume. And, luckily enough for me, it fit and they were happy with me and it turned into a 2-year gig.
So you said you watched Beast Morphers. Did you watch the episode where RC John came back?
Yes. I said it's been a while. Like I said, I remember bits and pieces. Unfortunately, at my age, my memory is not the best any longer.
Yes.
I remember the stuff I did, but like I don't like I said, as I'm going back and watching, I started with season 1 for my channel for the Baboo's Monster Review channel. And I'm looking at stuff that I know I watched it even just a couple of years ago, but I'm still not remembering things. This is obviously I'm more
Yes.
focused on it for the review, so that kind of helps. Like if you asked me something about the last 14 episodes, the first 14 episodes of season one.
So you said you met Hunter Dino. Is she a nice person, Hunter Dino? The
Or what
people
was
you
that?
met,
I'm sorry.
Hunter Dino.
Oh, Hunter Dino. Yes. Oh, yeah. She was very sweet. She was, took several pictures with me. Once I was introduced, she was like, "Oh yeah, hi, nice to meet you." She was happy to meet me as one of the close to originals.
yeah.
Again, not a ranger, but still someone that was there pretty much from the beginning. The
So do you
closest.
do you talk to the original cast still?
I see them at shows when I do them. That's about it. I don't really have much contact with them outside of that. Um, Not that it's necessarily that I don't want to. It's just, we've all got our lives. I
Yeah.
have a regular job, and my regular job is normally 5 or 6 days a week, 10-hour days. So when I come home, I'm then doing the show and then trying to spend time with my family. I don't have a whole lot of time for
Yeah.
much else.
So so you said you like an action figure for your character?
I mean, yeah, I mean, when I got the original, the original Baboo figure from Bandai, the season one, um, it took me about 6 months after I got cast to play Baboo to actually find one in the stores. And I said, unfortunately, since then we've had a couple of little ones. I've got the bunch of the recent Super 7 figures of Baboo. I was selling those. I'll
Yeah.
sell those at the conventions till I run out of them.
Um,
But like I said, from the original, I kept waiting for Hasbro Lightning Collection to come out with
Bamboo
Squat and
and
Baboo, and it just they did a bunch of Monsters of the Week, and they did Putties and Rita and Scorpina, Goldar, Finster, and no Squat and Baboo.
uh,
So I'm hopeful they might get to it eventually, but at this point, I'm not sure. They'll have to.
I have a question. Was
Yeah,
you and Jason David fight close? Jason David fight. There was no Green Ranger. Jason David fight.
I'm sorry.
Was,
Say that. I kind
was
of
you
missed.
was you and Jason David fight close? Jason David fight the Green Ranger.
No, I wish. As a matter of fact, I mean, obviously we worked together, specifically on the episode "Best Man for the Job" when Kimberly and Tommy are both running for class president, and they agree they're going to have a nice,
Yeah,
clean, kind campaign, and then Bebo and Squat tripped them with the rope from Rita and turned them against each other. And of course, I've met JDF at several conventions I had done
yeah,
since. But it's funny, I never actually got a picture with him. When I found out that he had passed and what happened, of course, my first thought was sadness. And then I realized, this is a guy I worked with, guy I've known for so many years, guy I lived about 20 minutes away from.
yeah.
And even though I'd met him several times since doing the show, I never got an autograph from him. I never even got a picture with him. And I kind of was like, you always think there's going to be time for that. Oh, I didn't get him this time. Next show we do, I'll have some time then, and I'll make sure I get a picture. Unfortunately, you never know if that next time is going to come.
Yeah. So so what do you plan on doing for Jason David fight? Since Sunday will be 1 year since he died.
Right. I mean, Sunday is normally a church day for me anyway, if I'm not doing a con, so I'll be at church. Of course, I will be thinking about that. I don't know that I'm going to do anything in particular, on my channel or anything
Yeah,
like that. Um, like I said, we worked together one or
yeah,
two episodes. We've met at conventions. Again, I'm not going to say he was a good friend. I mean, he was
yeah,
friendly to me, certainly anytime we've met. I just don't have enough of that personal connection to share anything really deep. Again, it's just an overall sadness. I'll light a candle, say some prayers for him at church. That's pretty much it. I tend to be a lot more private about things like that
yeah.
anyway.
So, who's your favorite Power Rangers actor? Do you have a favorite actor from that show?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna I liked working with Amy Jo. I worked with her a little bit more than maybe some of the other actors, but it's hard to say. I mean, everybody was so much fun to be around,
Yeah,
and it truly is a family, even though it's been going on for 30 years now. Anybody that has put on a ranger suit or a monster suit or even just done a voiceover for one of the monsters,
yeah,
we're all really one big family. I met some people that I'd never met before from seasons I've never watched before this past weekend, and it's automatically, hey, yeah, come on, let's take a picture. Hey, who are you? What did you do? Oh, that's great. We meet people when we're in the green room eating lunch, and it's, hey, mind if I sit down? Sure. Hey, who are you? Oh, I'm this. So it's automatic. There's an automatic connection between anybody that's ever been on the show because we were a part of something that is so iconic and so much a part of pop culture history. And the fact that it's still going on, we share a common bond. So, and
yes.
it literally is like somebody's family while you're there together. Now, again, there's some people that I have contact with that I talk to. Um, Campbell Cooley, for example, who has done voiceovers for 15, 18, however many seasons he's done characters
A
for.
lot of seasons, I know. I
Yeah.
reached out to him for an interview, but he said he was busy.
Yeah, no, I know he is. Like I said, I talk to him every few weeks. We'll shoot each other text, hey, you down for a call? We talk every now and then. Um, Outside of that, really nobody else I talk to that much. It's more just seeing them at cons, shooting them a
Mm,
quick message. Hey, what show are you going to be at next? Maybe I can get out to this one kind of thing. Um, I did like Justin Nemo. I'd met him at a con a couple of years ago, and we've stayed, just a little text every now and then just to see how everybody's doing, or a quick, Facebook message or whatever, DMs. So that's another person I just enjoyed hanging out with at a convention and got friendly with.
yes. What about do you talk to Ron Wasserman?
I'd never met Ron till this weekend. We actually, even though his booth was next to mine, I didn't even get to talk to him much then.
Yeah,
We actually probably did the most talking at when we were lined up waiting to be introduced at the VIP dinner on
yeah.
Saturday night.
He seems cool.
No, he's a very nice guy. Again, that's not somebody I would have even thought of talking to, but yeah, just I'm not a musical guy. I don't consider myself very musically talented. Certainly can't write music. And then this guy to be behind, how many theme songs of how many different shows. It's such a different uh, skill set required to do that. On the one hand, I have nothing in common with him, but on the other hand, we're part of that Power Rangers family, so
Yeah.
we do have something in common automatically.
So, so you met Austin John? You know Austin St. John?
Of course, of course. Yeah, no, it was good to see him again. I had seen him at a con a couple of years ago, but this convention I seem to be a little more outgoing.
Yeah.
I said I did my first convention in 2013, was a convention here in Houston, and that was with Steve Cardenas and Karen Ashley and Catherine Sutherland. And I'd met Blake Foster then as well. And of course, Paulie and Jason Bulk and Skull were there. So those are the first people I had seen, in 18 years. So I got friendly with them and was automatically welcomed. And this is your first convention. Let's, we'll help you along. We'll tell you what you need to do and, how to handle doing the panels and photo shoots and stuff. But then I didn't do another convention until 2019 just because I didn't know enough about how they really worked.
Yeah.
But when I did one in 2019, most of those people were at this one too. And then there were some other people there as well I got to see, but it was very brief. Um, I had met, I forget, I had seen Walter and Austin at I don't know if it was that show or another show that I had done where I just went up to real quick at the side of the booth and say, hey guys, I'm Baboo, remember me? Quick hi and shake hands. But uh, again, this past Ranger stop, I had a little more time to talk with them because we had time backstage. They were in the green room, or the few seconds that nobody was at either of their booths when I jumped in. Hey, I want to get a photograph with you guys. I said, I learned that lesson from, unfortunately, again, JDF's passing. I don't want to pass up the opportunity to get photos with people that I may never see again. I hope to. I hope I see him at
Yeah.
Ranger Stop and Pop in Atlanta if I get to go and they go. I hope to see them at Power Morphicon in California next year if I get to be at that one. But I don't want to risk that. Oh, I'll put it off next time I see them because I don't know that there's ever going to be a next time, and I don't
Yeah.
want to pass that chance up.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Would you come to Cleveland one day?
I would love to go to conventions all over the country. What I will say is this: I can ask the conventions directly all I want. Hey, this is who I am. I was the suit actor for Baboo on Power Rangers for 2 years. I'd love to be at your show.
Mhm.
And I may never get a response.
Yeah.
But if people in the area that they know are going to attend the show because they're locals or because they go every year, make a point of making a trip up that way to do it. If a number of people reach out directly to the convention and say, hey, we would love it if you would invite Steve Andreno, who was Baboo on Power Rangers, as a guest. Get a bunch of people asking for me, then the convention is going to reach out to me and go, hey, we got a lot of people requesting you. Would you be interested? And if
Yeah.
it's something that I'm not already booked or and I can fit in my schedule, I'll be more than happy to.
Um. So you won't be at GalaxyCon?
GalaxyCon, I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with. That's the one in Cleveland, or is there another one?
That's like Columbus.
Okay, I'm not familiar with. I haven't done GalaxyCon yet.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I'm open to doing any con. I'm not going to be one of those. Well, I only want to do the Ranger cons, or I only want to do, San Diego Comic Con or New York Comic Con because they're the big ones.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing the smaller ones, and I have fun doing those too because I get to meet people I've never would have the chance to meet. I get to tell stories about myself to people who actually want to listen, like you. Um, and nobody goes to a convention and purposefully has a bad time. You go to a convention to have a good time, to have fun, to meet some people. Either you've some of them. I know there are people who go and follow certain people around the country, or this is the 17th time I've met this act or this ranger or this person, and that's great and that's wonderful. Like I said, I had a great time seeing people I had met at this convention as fans that I had met 4 years ago. I went to Ranger Stop in 2019 just as a 1 day guest at one of the vendor booths. The gentleman I'm friends with, Gaz Gretzky, he's the one that I told you does the Action Activate channel, and he was the first person that ever did an interview of me as Baboo.
Yeah.
Um, but I went there just for 1 day, just to meet some people, sold a couple of autographs, got to meet a couple of the other Ranger actors I hadn't met before. That's probably actually the last time I had seen Austin and Walter was over there. Now that I think about it, excuse me. But I met some fans then, and saw them again. This past weekend. Was happy to see them. I recognize them. Of course, they recognize me, but they're happy that you remember that I remembered them. And I said, well, again, I can't say I'm going to remember everybody I've ever met, but certain people certainly stand out if you strike up a conversation or have one thing that's non-ranger related in common. Sometimes that's enough to form that bond and have that memory, and be able to recognize them and call them by name as they're walking by, because they're thinking about something else and they're not even looking to see whose booth they're in front of.
What's your favorite Power Ranger season?
I gotta say season 2, because that was the first one that I did.
Mm.
And technically season 2 is when we had the wedding and brought Rita back. So it was nice adding to that. Um, although ends 2 and 3, they started writing the parts a little bit bigger for the monsters during the end of season 2 and into season 3, more season 3, because they were filming the movie in Australia at the time, and they were behind schedule wise in filming. So they had to film at the studio in California. So they film, oh, we're just going to write some bigger parts and we're going to film more monster stuff to, because we've got the studio, we got to start getting footage out. So we actually cranked out a whole lot of episodes, the monster parts of them in a very short period of time.
Have you read the comic books of the following years?
I actually was given some of the comic books by Boom when I did the second convention, the Power Morphicon Express in 2019. I was I was a last minute addition, so they had like 20 guests, and the way they had it set up is the guest alley. There was 10 on each side. Well, I ended up being the 21st guest because I basically said, "Hey, look, I'm local. I live here in town. Could you just give me a table? I'd love to be there." And they did, but they put me actually as the first table in Artist Alley. This is how I got friendly with Gaz and also Matt Frank. And across from Gaz was Boom with the comic books and stuff, or it was maybe just another vendor that happened to have the Boom comics. But they started telling me what was going on with Baboo in the comics. They actually gave me 3 issues so I could follow the adventures of continuing adventures of Squat and Baboo.
So I have a question. Do you think probably just to go dark or stay the way it is?
Oh, I like it going dark. Things evolve. Like I said, Baboo, when I first saw the costume, I thought scary monster. Then I was told no, more goofy, and that's the way I played him. And then I came to realize as I was doing it, and the woman that played Squat, we both ended up playing Squat and Baboo like we were toddlers. And I usually give the comparison of, dad's in the driveway trying to fix the car, and you're 6 years old and you want to help him. Well, there's not much you can do to help, but dad's thankful that you want. So, hey, can you hand me that wrench over there? And you pick it up and bring it to him. So that's how you can help. That's what Baboo and Squat did. We weren't fighters. So we helped by doing all the smaller tasks that somebody had to do, but Rita didn't want to go down to earth and do herself. And Goldar was too busy fighting or doing other important stuff. Finster was too busy making the monsters, so it was up to Squat and Baboo to go do it. And again, for the couple of seasons of Mighty Morphin, it was fine. But I would hate to think 10, 20 years later, we were still doing that and that there was no growth out of Baboo and Squat. So I'm absolutely very appreciative of the darker turn and him becoming Dark Ranger and all this stuff.
Yeah. So, so do you work on any other shows?
I did other extra work on a couple of other TV shows. I was on ER. I played a cop on a couple of episodes of Days of Our Lives. Um, Not much else. I auditioned for a couple of other things while I was doing Baboo. Nothing else came of it. And a month almost to the day that I finished wrapping season three wrapped on September 14th of 95. Well, on October 13th, so just about a month later, I moved to Vegas and I eloped. I got married. My wife and I just celebrated our 28th anniversary last month. So that was, oh, thank you. Thank you. That was what actually led to me stopping doing Rangers, not intentionally.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we didn't have cell phones like this. We had pagers. So that's actually the studio would page me. I'd get a message that that this number was trying to get in touch with me. I would call them and say, yeah, this is Steve. I just got paged. They're like, yep, we need you, next Monday and Tuesday. Okay, great. So that's how I would know when they needed me to shoot. Well, we had finished season 3. I knew they were pretty much done with Baboo when it was transitioning to a different series. Didn't know specifically that it was Zeo, but I knew they were pretty much done with Baboo. But I was still told, hey, if we need you, we'll call you. Yeah. Well, my pager was in Los Angeles, an LA number. there was a couple of different area codes in LA at the time, and it worked in all those area codes, and it worked in Orange County where I lived. I assumed when I moved to Vegas, it would still work in Vegas. I'd get the call, I could call in, find out when they needed me, and I would drive back, the night before. I had friends and family I could stay with and then just go to the studio and film. Well, that's not how pages work. Pages were only worked within a certain radius, a certain area codes. So I found out many years later from Paulie Schreier that they tried calling me because they needed me at the very least for the transition into Zio, where they had someone else and they needed Baboo. Well, they had to have somebody else fill the suit because they couldn't find me. They didn't know where I disappeared to. And I didn't know that the pager wouldn't work.
Yes. I have a timer that sings, so always finish. There's a timer on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a timer on Zoom. I can only do a certain amount of time.
Ah. So let me ask you, I'm going to turn this on you a little bit because I tend to do this in interviews. So what got you started into Power Rangers?
Uh, the monsters and the fighting.
What season was the first one that you watched?
Well, I we samurai.
Samurai, okay. Now, is that your favorite season, or do you have a different favorite season?
Mighty Morphin is.
Mighty Morphin is your favorite. I appreciate that. Uh, and I get a lot of people telling me that at the convention, just like I'm sure every other celebrity guest has fans telling them that their season's the best. What I tell people about what was so fun about doing Mighty Morphin, because it was the first, even though it was taken from Sentai footage, there was no formula. There was no set, this is the way it needs to be done. We had the freedom to try different things, to film things in different ways, to act in different ways, and maybe go a little off character, just see what would work. Because we had the time to do it. It was low budget to start, but we would film as much as we could because we wanted to try so many different things just to see what would look best. After 3 years of Mighty Morphin and then Zeo and Turbo, by that point, towards the end, it was like, well, into even in space, it was, this is the way it needs to be done. We need to do this. We need to make sure this part gets in. So it was more strict in how it was filmed compared to Mighty Morphin.
Yes, I have it's time of me on here.
What's that?
It's time of me on here.
Yeah. And the other thing is with the Mighty Morphin 2, even though, like I said, my suit was the original Sentai suit. They didn't make a new one. The Squat and the Goldar and Finster and Baboo, those were all the original suits. So one of the things that they had to do for mine, especially because mine was all paint, I didn't have any fabric on me like Squat did. They had to actually repaint the suit the night before every show when they were going to film, so it was quote camera ready. And they'd get holes in it sometimes. They'd have to patch up holes in it.
Yeah.
So that actually led to us having to be careful on how we film certain things in certain scenes, and maybe not wanting to do as much physical, not especially if we're on location. We don't want to risk damaging the suit and then not have a way to repair it.
Yes.
All right. So who is your favorite monster? Other than me, of course.
Golden North.
You like Goldar the best? Goldar was cool. I will say when Zed came back, well, Zed came on and gave Goldar back his wings. It made it a lot harder to film because the doorways weren't quite made for that. So if you look carefully, a lot of times Goldar has to kind of like sidestep a little bit so he's not walking straight ahead because the wings were so big it would bump into things or he wouldn't fit through certain areas in the throne room. So he had to kind of sidestep a little bit.
It's time me out here. I only got 5 minutes left out here.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's good because I still need to eat dinner.
So you want to end it?
We can wrap it up now. If you got one last question or one thing, one thing you want to ask me.
It was nice meeting you.
Well, it was very nice to meet you as well, Nick. If I may, for anybody else that tunes in and watches this, if you want to reach out to me, my Facebook is just Steve Andreno, just like it says right above me. But make sure you're looking for a Baboo icon, otherwise you'll end up friends with my father, and he'll have no idea who you are or why you want to talk to him.
Yes.
My Instagram and my X/Twitter and my threads are all at Baboo Real. So it's just BABOOREAL. And of course, I'd love for anybody watching to tune into my YouTube channel,
Yes.
which is Baboo's Monster Review, just to get a little different take on all the original Mighty Morphin episodes, get a kind of look at them from the monster's point of view, and hopefully give you some information you might not have ever heard before.
Yes.
All right. Well, Nick, it was a pleasure.
It was
Thank you
nice
very
meeting
much.
you.
Again, it was nice meeting you there. I was glad to do the interview with you. You have yourself a great evening and a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye bye.